Okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
My name is Mary Ann Goldstein, and I was born in 1927 and lived in,
I am a survivor.
and I'm a survivor.
Okay.
And so Jim, now from now on, if you could look at Jim.
Now,
address
yeah,
Jim.
just
Okay.
don't look at the camera. Pretend that ugly mug's not there. All right. So the first part we want to talk about today, Marianne, is what it was like for you to be a young child. So tell me about your family, your friends, your hobbies, what you like to do in your free time, your mom and your dad, anything you can think of from your early childhood that was fantastic stuff. Okay?
Well, when we lived in the south of Germany in 1931, Hitler had already come into power, and there was already a certain amount of anti-Semitism. I was then 4 years old, and I went to a nursery school run by the Catholic sisters, and most of the children, or all of the other children, were not Jewish, and I learned then and there that became very conscious of the fact that I was Jewish and different from all these children. And it ended up that I walked out of the nursery school, Catholic nursery school, and left for home. And at 5 years of age, that was a pretty brave thing to do. And then I noticed also that in 1934-35, the children on the side streets of the house where we lived in an apartment building, that the children, some of them hesitated to play with us, and I became aware of the fact that sometimes the parents said no to the children, don't play with her. So I started losing friends then, and my brother, who liked gardening, had helped a gardener, and the gardener told him not to come because he couldn't help him. Okay, so that was, now we're in around 1934. In 1935 or 36, I entered the German grammar school, and again, and that wasn't only in relation to the city that we lived in, but in most of the cities, starting with Berlin, that Jewish children were no longer going to public schools. There were still Jewish children going to secondary schools at colleges and universities, but they were not, they had to be in separate public schools. So I started my first year in grammar school until through my fourth year with a Jewish public school teacher in a one-room class in the town of Pirmasens where we lived, and there were about 50 to 60 children in one classroom, and when he taught one class or two classes together, the other classes had to behave. And I remember sitting in a chair that seated two. You've seen those in some school situations, and we were constantly giggling. And so another girl and I sat in one of those seats, and if we giggled, the Jewish teacher, aware of that there couldn't be any interruption while teaching, would come with his stick, and he'd give it to us with a stick. So I remember very distinctly that one of those times I came home and came down with diphtheria, just very suddenly, and I was very sick with diphtheria in my first year, second year in the Jewish classroom, and we had a Jewish doctor, woman doctor, and we were very good friends with the family. Their last name was Scholl, and she doctored me and she made me well, but it was already almost the time when doctors were forbidden to exercise their skills. So by 1935, 36, a lot of the doctors and professionals and lawyers lost their positions. That's quite early. By 1930, now 1935, 36, I finished my 4 years in the Jewish classroom, and then you had to take an exam to go to secondary school, and so I had like other children, not all children, not just non-Jewish children, had to take an exam to be admitted to the secondary school, which at that time you still paid some kind of your parents had to pay for the education. And in the secondary school, the girls realized that I wasn't sitting in on the religious classes, and I was by that time, quite a few of the Jewish children my age had been sent out of the country. When, those were the lucky ones. But my father always felt that he should be there for his Jewish congregation, so that he never made any attempt
Okay.
to.
So cut and we roll again.